Hey, hey, what? What are you doing? I said, what are you doing? We are making a video today. Are you ready?
No, what are we doing?
Weather.
Weather what?
Not weather what? Weather, you know, mist, rain, fog, wind.
I told you not to eat that takeaway.
Oh man, who let you in? Hello everyone, it is me, Jules, and my annoying twin, Julio. We make videos on drawing, planning and publishing.
Every Friday.
Every Friday. So don't miss a single video by subscribing and dinging the bell. Today we are looking at how to portray weather, don't start, using a variety of different techniques. So without further ado,
Or like Shakespeare?
no, that is much ado about nothing. Don't you know anything? I'm using a soft 8B pencil for this one and just starting to draw the shapes in, making sure that you've got one leg bent and one leg straight, and then the opposite arm to the leg that is bent is the straight one. And this is somebody who's walking into the wind. So imagine, if you can see in that top left, I've drawn a little arrow, top left of the screen, and that's the wind, the way the wind is blowing. So the person who's walking into the wind and they're having to use a lot of energy pushing their body forwards, and that's why they are standing in this shape. Remember which is the leg that is you're going to see the most of, the bent one that's nearest us, and don't draw all of the straight one behind it because you can't see all of it. And then I'm just colouring this black just so you can see it, but you could do a different colour if you'd like. Getting my watercolour paints out, these and also a big fat but slightly pointed rounded brush. I'm just first of all wetting the paper, and this is going to be some mountains. So I've done two sort of wedge shapes in the water, and now I'm just picking up some blue and some greens, and I'm doing the mountains slightly different colours because one is in front of the other. So the one on the left hand side of the screen, this one, that has got a lot more green in it because it's closer to us. That one at the back, I'm doing a lot more blue in it because it's slightly more muted colour being further away. And then that, as you can see, dropping a bit more blue onto that edge, leading edge, just to define it a bit. And then I'm going to use a bit of purple here. So I'm mixing a bit of purple with a bit of the green and the blue I've used for the other two, to show another mountain or a hill further in the background. Then putting some water in for the rain that's going to be falling and the clouds. Instead of going horizontally across the page with the water, I'm now going up and down vertically because that is the way that the rain is going to be falling. And if you think logically about this, the way that you paint in anything that you're doing, if you go in the direction that the energy, the thing is going in, so in this instance the rain, which is falling, then you can't go wrong really. So I started off there with going with my colour, some of the clouds are going left to right, but then over the top I'm dragging that water and that ink, paint down, because that's the way the rain is coming. And you might be able to see sometimes in films of countryside, you see the rain coming through a valley, and that's what I'm trying to create here. So I'm putting a little bit more darker colour in for the clouds at the top right there, but then moving the actual paper around, and the paper is still on inside the pad, so it's got the card backing. It's easy to move around. I'm just moving that ink and that pigment around into the place where I want it to be. So whilst it's wet, you can have a lot of fun with this, and this is why I love watercolour painting, because it's not all down to you as the artist, it's down to whatever the paper is and the pigment, the brush you use. So it's a bit of a combination of all of your efforts, if you like, to bring whatever it is that it finishes up as. And just with a bit of tissue, I'm just dabbing a little bit of that excess water away and also dragging some of it down. You could use anything that you've got really, even if you've got a stick from the garden. you could use that to create some of your marks. I've already drawn in pencil the little boy on the sledge that I wanted to draw in pen, and these are Staedtler fineliners. I think I'm using two different sizes here, three different sizes actually. I'm using a 0.5 for the thicker outlines, a 0.3 and a 0.2. And the little squirrel in the tree is watching the boy as he goes down the hill, and using the Crayola Super Tips. This is a sort of bluey. I've decided to just use three main colours because being a snowy day, I want it to feel cold and chilly. So I wanted to use pretty cold colours, all except one, which I will show you in a minute. Apart from what he's wearing blue and green just to make him stand out a little bit more from the background of the snow, because of course the snow is going to be white. You can drop in some colour like grey and some pale blues just to show the folds and the shadows of the snow, but it's just nice to make him stand out a little bit and what he's doing as well. So he's sitting in something that it looks like a kind of small boat, but it's once you can see the way he's sitting in it, you can see that it's actually a sledge. And if you can hear my dog snoring, excuse her, she's sitting right next to me as I'm doing this. Our little squirrel here, he's not a grey squirrel, he's a red squirrel, because we have red squirrels on the Isle of Wight, so and it also makes him a bit more colourful. So he's sitting in that tree, and after I've finished colouring the tree in, I'm going back in with a 0.2 just to give it a bit of texture. Whipping out, now this is going to be a fun bit, whipping out the old chalks. I'm making him, he's obviously coming downhill on his sledge, so that's giving him a bit of momentum. I've left a white strip underneath where he is to show the top edge of the snow that he's left, if you like, as he's gone over a bump. And then I'm just smudging in some of that, the grey behind him, and right underneath him there, that's the grey, at the top of the picture is the sky, and the bottom is the snow, and of course that sky is reflected, or it's the colour is showing in that snow on the ground. And then a bit of black and a bit of ochre. So you always get a little bit of yellowy colour in the sky when it's going to snow. And then making sure that you know that that is the edge of the snow, I'm putting my pencil sideways and just dragging that along to show you where the snow finishes. Then this is a bit of a multimedia picture. I've found a few snowflakes and I'm putting those on, and then I'm adding a few more snowflakes with my jelly roll pen just to give it that lovely sort of wintry, snowy feeling. It works a lot better if you go over the darker areas. And then some dots, which blobbing that on makes it look a bit more visible for other tiny snowflakes. And that's it, picture finished. Next up is a misty forest. I've already drawn in very light pencil where my trees are going to go, so just so I don't get confused, I'm just dotting above them which tree is going to be which colour, because it can be quite easy when you're drawing trees like this and we're only seeing really the bottom half of the trees. It can be quite easy to get a bit muddled up with what's a tree and what's not a tree. The trees that are nearer to me are going to be in this darker grey, and then as they get further away from me they get paler and paler. So these are the blue ones are the sort of intermediately far away trees, and the pale grey are the ones that are in the furthest distance. So those ones in the furthest distance are going to be covered in the most amount of mist or fog. There is a subtle difference between fog and mist, and it's to do with how dense the droplets are. So mist, this is going to be a misty one, so we can see some of the trees in the distance. And to show that, I am going to use my chalk pastel and go over those ones that are further away a bit more thickly than the close ones. And then rubbing it with my finger and using also a slightly darker colour, the black, just to show where the ground is and a little bit of shadow under each tree. Then smudge that again with your finger and you've got a finished picture.
Julio has just nipped off to make a cup of tea, so I thought I'd take you through how I use weather pictures and what I've used them for this year. I've been making a nature journal all year, looking at the different plants, animals and insects, and indeed the weather. It's a sort of citizen science project for me, to use current terms, but it's not a fad that I'm taking part in. It's something that I've been interested in for probably the last 30 years. I'm looking at how climate change is affecting us locally here. Check out my Instagram page and you'll see probably getting on for about 300 posts now. I started on January the 1st and early next year it's going to be a book. Yay! And if you want to check out my programme on how to illustrate a children's book, I'll leave the link below. Oh, here she comes. Tea's ready. Oh, and thanks for watching. I'm off to pop on a raspberry jam face mask. I'll see you next time. Nanu nanu! Weirdo.